Hello everyone, it's Maria here from pepperlyrose.blogspot.com.au. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Australia and I'm from Sydney. Thank you all for joining me. Today I'm going to show you a really fun project using the Birthday Blossom stamp set and the Pansy Punch. I know these are older sets, but it's nice to revisit older sets and see how you can modernize them. This set I only recently just got, so this is new for me, but I really wanted to create something that's useful. And today I'm going to show you how to make this magazine style box card holder. And this I made to fit C6 envelopes and A6 cards. So this is the Australian standard envelope, and that's the card, and I'll just show you how it all fits inside, and it fits perfectly. This can also fit card bases that are 4.5, was it 4 1/4 by 5.5, I think? Yep, because this box measures, when finished, that's 7 inches high, 5 inches wide and 2 inches deep, so you can fit quite a few there. But I wanted to create something that was specific for A6 because there's not a lot of projects out there that are specific for that, and I thought I'd create one from scratch. Now this one I created in Pool Party, and I'm using the Playful Background stamp set, but we won't be doing that today. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like, and it's quite yeah, it's quite big, and it needs 2 pieces of cardstock, A4s. So I'll show you how to make that, and I'll go through all the measurements with you. So you will need, for this project, I'm using 2 pieces of Blushing Bride cardstock. So I've just got my cheat sheet here so I can see the measurements. And this cardstock measures, so you need 2 of these, the same, at 7.5 by 9 inches. So you'll need 2. For the panels, I'm going to be using Very Vanilla, and you will need 6 3/4 by 4 3/4 by 2. You will need a strip of, again, Very Vanilla cardstock at 1 3/4 by 6 3/4. And a smaller piece there at 1 3/4 across by 3 1/4 long. I will pop up these measurements on the video so you can copy them down quickly as we go along. And I will also show you how to create these panels, because this can be a little bit tricky, so I'll show you the way I've done it, but it's easily done. So I will show you exactly how to do that. So with your Blushing Bride cardstock, I will do some scoring, and both of them will be scored exactly the same. So I'll bring out my Simply Scored scoring tool, and I'm just going to put the camera up a little bit more so you can see the measurements. Okay. And I'll just bring that down. There we go. All right. Now, with the scoring, on the 7.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, oops, at 1/2 inch and at 2.5. Then we'll turn it around to the 9 inch side, and we're going to score it at 2 inches. Okay, so that's how that looks. All right, we'll do the same on this side. On the 7.5 inch side, we will score again at 1/2 inch, 2.5 inches, and then we'll turn it around to the 9 inch side, and we're going to score it at 2. Okay, so I'll just double check and make sure that I scored it correctly. 2.5 on each one. Yes, perfect. Okay. Now we will take this away, and I will show you how we're going to score and cut. Okay, so With these cardstocks here, we are going to cut off, there's a little half-inch strip there. We're going to cut that completely off. So it goes straight up. And we'll cut that off on both sides, on both pieces, okay? So we'll do that first. And that one. All right. Now, I'll just explain with the box. One side will remain intact at the full 7 inches. The other side, we're going to cut off up to the 3/4 mark so it produces this side, because basically what we're doing is we're creating a box that will look like that, okay? So it'll be like that. But one side, the spine, has to be shorter. So I will explain this all as we go along. Now, we're going to grab a ruler, because I find that this is the easiest. Okay, now where we have this side, we're going to make that face down and have that cut off piece facing to the right. Okay, now on this side here, we're going to measure from the top, and we'll have that 2-inch score line there. We're going to measure from the top to the 3.5 inch spot there. So we're just going to put a little mark with the pen, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to cut from there to there. So I'll show you the cutting in a minute. So we did a little dot there at the 3.5 inch line. On this side here, we are going to do the same. So from the top, so now we've got that 1/2 inch square bit there to the left. We're going to measure from the top here or either side, because it's the same, it's 7 inches, and we're going to go to halfway at 3.5. So we're going to just put a mark right there, okay? And then we'll do the same on this side, because we're going to cut it in a line. So there and there, 3.5 inches. Okay, you see that? All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to grab our scissors. We're going to cut in a straight line from there to there. And we are going to cut this side completely off. So it looks like that, okay? Then we're going to miter in that 1/2 inch bit there and there. We're going to cut up the score line here. And we're just going to miter in that flap, okay, just slightly. Now just trim off this excess score line here, so I'm just going to trim that off. Okay, so it looks like that, okay? So that's one side. All right, now, on this side, we did our score, our little score there on the 3.5 inch side. So I'm actually going to grab my trimmer now, because I find it easier. So what we're going to do is on the track, we're going to put that 3.5 inch mark there, and then we're going to put this around here, so we go to the corner up here. So we're going to go to from this corner down to that corner. You can draw a line, but I don't want to, because I don't want to have any pen marks. So I'll go from that corner there, okay, so that corner there to that mark there in a straight line on our trimmer. And all we do is just trim that off. And there we have a beautifully cut from the corner to that 3.5 inch line there. Now, this case, because we've already cut to the 3.5 inch line there, what we're going to do is we're going to line up our paper from the corner there to the corner here. Okay, so go from corner to corner, and we're going to trim that off. Okay, I went a little bit further down than I should have, but that's okay. So we'll just give that a quick little trim. And now you will see that the box will come together. So just imagine it like this. Okay, we just line these up here. So it'll look like that. Okay, and then it'll turn out like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my bone folder, which I forgot to bring. So I'll quickly get that. And we are going to now burnish all of those score lines. Okay, so we'll start burnishing. Okay, so that's one side done. Now we'll do this side. Oh yes, and before we start sticking it together, we'll have to cut up that score line here on this side. So sorry about that. So just go straight up, and then we'll just trim, just miter in those edges there on the flap only, but we leave that 2-inch strip alone, and then we'll just trim off here and here. Okay, so just put this down here again so you can have a look. Alright, so that looks like that. Okay, now we will just burnish all those score lines. I'm taking my time showing you this because I know it can be confusing, but this is really, really simple, and I hope I'm explaining it simply for you. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to line this all up, and we'll just stick this bit down. So just putting some liquid glue because I find that that helps me to line things up without committing to it before I'm ready. Because I am prone to make mistakes. I think we all are at some point. So we're just going to now just line that up. Oops. Like that. And so as you can see, it's sort of coming together now, isn't it? Then we're going to put some glue on this side. Oops. Okay. And then all we have to do is just fold this over, and it will come together quite nicely. So just line that up there and there. Right along the edge. There is a little bit here that you just have to trim off, just a tiny, tiny bit. So we can trim that off now. Just trim that off. Okay, so trim that off. So now that looks absolutely perfect. So we're going to now put in those flaps. I'm going to glue them down. I'm very messy today. So just glue the flaps down a little bit, just there and there. Okay, fold that in. Okay. And then I'm just going to put glue all along here. And I'm just now going to close that up. So I'll just grab my scissors and I'll just give that all a push down. And our magazine file box is now done. So we'll leave that on one side so it can dry. So I'm just pushing down all of those little score lines and everything, making sure that it's all adhered to. So that looks beautiful. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to grab our panel pieces, and there are 2 pieces that we need to put on either side, and as you can see they're not trimmed, but I will show you how to trim them so that it makes it very easy. So we'll grab our ruler and our pen again, and for the 6 3/4 by 4 3/4 pieces of cardstock, we're going to mark each of them at the 3 1/4 mark. So I'll just put my thing there, and we'll do the same on the other side. So it's the 3 1/4 from the top. Okay, and we'll put the 3 1/4 there. Okay, so we've done our marks. So now I'm going to grab my trimmer again. Okay, and we are going to trim from that corner there to that there. So let's trim that up. So put the corner there, the mark on the track there, and we just grab our that's the scoring blade. So we'll now just trim right there, that right off. And so now you have that mark there. So we'll do that again. So that corner there to that mark there. Okay, so we'll put the corner up here and pop that over there. So there's the mark there, right on the track. The corner right up the top there. Make sure it's lined up straight on your trimmer. You can use scissors if you're brave. And then we'll just cut that right off, and now we have a beautiful crisp line there. So now I'll bring around my box, and you can see how they layer absolutely perfectly. See? So there's just really a 1/4 of an inch border right round. So that is beautiful. All right, so what we'll do now is when we do some stamping, you're going to have to stamp one that looks this way and one that looks that way, and it doesn't matter which is which, as long as they both face in opposite ways. So I'm just going to grab some copy paper, some scrap, and we're going to do some stamping. Now I'm going to be using this image here from the stamp set. So what I might do is I'm just going to stamp all of it all over, and I'm going to speed it up. So we'll just get stamping on all the pieces. And I'm just inking that up in Blushing Bride ink, and we'll just start stamping. Now I've got a couple of scrap pieces of very vanilla cardstock, and what we're going to do is we're going to do some stamping. We're going to stamp in Pear Pizzazz this image over here, some leaves. I'm going to stamp that about 2 or 3 times, and yeah, we're going to fussy cut them all out, the leaves. Okay, so that one's done. I'm now going to cut out this image here. I'm going to stamp that in Blushing Bride ink. I'm going to stamp that out about 3 times. So grab that image there. Now, before I do that, actually, I'm going to give you a tip. Actually, no, I will stamp it, but I'm going to give you a tip on how to punch it out, because I know that the Pansy Punch can give some people a bit of anxiety in that it's not easy to line up. As you can see, I've got a little red mark up the top there. That way I know when I stamp it that that's the position I need to put my punch. So I'll show you the tip that I've learned from others, and I'll pass it on to you as well. So I'm just going to stamp with that little mark up there in Blushing Bride ink, and I'm going to stamp that out about three times, I think. Yeah. All right. Now, here's the tip I have learnt. I'm actually going to clean that stamp because it'll be otherwise making a big mess, because we will need to use it. Okay. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our punch, our Pansy Punch. We're going to pop that in as far up as, as possible. And we are going to punch out our image there, okay? So, what we're going to do with this is that we are going to flip it over and write top and bottom, okay? What we're going to grab next is our stamp. So I'm going to just do whatever, okay? And we are going to try and line it up as much as we can. So that doesn't line up. That doesn't line up. So it's like a template. That lines up. Okay, so did you see that? So what we did was, let's do it again. We're trying to line up that image like that. So try and find how it lines up. So does that line up? No. So keep going until it actually lines up. And I think here is where this lines up the best. Okay? So then what we do is we turn it over, and as you can see there, I'll take off the stamp actually from the block. So I'll go through it again just so to make sure. You punch your image out, okay? So that's this way. Take this away. Flip it over and write top and bottom. Get your stamp. Line it up, so just go around, try and line it up as best as you can. No, that doesn't go there. That goes there. Okay? That lines up perfectly. I think. No? Hang on. Yeah. Now, that lines up perfectly. Okay? So it's really got to fit in well. So take your time in doing this to make sure that it really lines up well. And so this lines up extremely well. Like so. Oh, let's make sure. No. Now that lines up. Okay? So we've got that now. So what we do now is because we know that's the top, we can turn it over, and then you can put a little mark to say that's the top, or wherever you want to mark it down the bottom. I do it up the top just quite simply so I know. Okay, so that's now been lined up, and you put your mark. So every time you stamp, it goes with the Flower Shop stamp set as well. I put a little mark on every single one of them just so that there's no confusion. So now, when I go to punch these out, these line up absolutely perfectly. So all you have to do is line that up. Okay, there's a bit of a border around this image. So line it up as best you can. And punch it out. of our little leaves and our punched images there. I'll just fix this camera, it's driving me crazy. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so that's all done. Now what we're going to grab is our box, and we're going to start sticking on our panels. So I'll go up again so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so we'll start sticking our panels down. So I'm going to grab some glue. Whoops. I'm going to so we have that really nice looking our own DSP, and now we're just going to arrange all our little elements on here. So I'll just add some green leaves here and just laying it out, some there and maybe a little here. Let's see. Or maybe we should cut all these out. I might stamp those images again, and I might use Blushing Bride on Blushing Bride, because I just don't like the way that looks. Okay, I'm back. I just decided to stamp some more of those leaves, but I put Pizzazz ink on Pizzazz cardstock. And so these are the leaves that I've cut out versus the ones with the Very Vanilla. And I figured, well, this kind of looks washed out for this, but what we'll do is we'll keep these for another project, another time we can make them into a card. But I thought this would look much better if we used the actual colours on colours. I'm not sure if I'm right in thinking this, but let me know what your thoughts are. And I thought I'd just add the leaves just all around here. So what I'll do is I'll just start, I'll just lay them out just to get an idea, and I'm just going to bring these up a little. I'll just get my bone folder and just give it a bit of a lift. So I'll just, yeah, just give it a bit of a lift, and I'll just curl them. I can just use my fingers for that too, and I'll just make them face up, I think. Yeah, so I think this layout's quite good. So I'll start sticking these down, and yeah. Okay, stick these down, and I'll pop that in one here. Just pop it in the middle, so then that way we can give it a bit of a lift. And this is just to store, you know, your A6 cardstock, card bases and your C6 envelopes, and it fits it perfectly, so I love that. I'll put that here. Then we'll put this in the put some glue in the middle of the flower there. And we'll put this here. Some glue here. I'll stick the other flower there. Okay. Just make sure that sticks right down. Because it's liquid, it takes a little bit of time, but that's okay. And so now, here is our finished box. Isn't it beautiful? Look at that. So, I hope you've enjoyed this project, and as I said before, this fits a C6 envelope and an A6 base A6 card. It has a tiny little bit of room, just a little bit of room, but it gives it a leeway and it covers right to the top. So it will look like that if you have a whole bunch of cards in there. This will make a great gift if you want to give that as a gift, or just have it on your desk to organise your cards. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this project. Sorry it took a little bit long, but let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much. Bye for now.